Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to play through all 7 chords of the F Ionian mode on the guitar so that when you play or write a song in F Ionian, you already know where to find these chords on the fretboard. And in the process, you're also going to see how these chords are formed and why they sound so good. Okay, so to start, these 7 chords are all derived from the F Ionian mode or the F major scale, which sounds and looks like this. The notes in this pattern are F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F. Starting on the 6th string 1st fret, for example, and rising up to the 4th string 3rd fret, this pattern sounds familiar. And we can refer to it using scale degree numbers as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, rising up the fretboard, these same 7 notes appear in different positions and octaves, although it's just the same 7 notes repeated. That is, the same subset of notes that we pick out from the chromatic scale, which includes every possible note in music. The F Ionian mode is just 7 of these notes repeated up and down the fretboard. And when we play these notes in sequence, they sound nice in any octave, whether we play it down low or up high. Now, to create chords from this pattern, all we have to do is combine every other note in groups of 3, starting on each respective scale degree to form 7 distinct harmonies. To illustrate how this works, here's a table that shows 2 octaves of the F Ionian mode or the F major scale along the top, and below that are the 7 chords that stem from this pattern, where each one starts on a different scale degree and combines every other note to form its own harmony. The 1 chord, shown by a Roman numeral 1 here, begins on scale degree 1. The 2 chord, labeled by a numeral 2, begins on scale degree 2, and so on. And if you look closely, in each chord, the first and last notes are separated by the interval of a fifth, which is why these notes sound and look related, why they're so harmonious together, because of their close connection in the circle of fifths. So F and C are separated by a fifth, G and D are separated by a fifth, A and E are also separated by a fifth, etc. And then the middle note in each chord is what gives it an especially distinct sound. In this first chord, F major, A is 2 whole steps, or a major third above F. So these 3 notes, F, A, and C, form what's called a major chord, represented by this capital Roman numeral 1, where the capital signifies that it's major. In this second chord, though, the B flat note is only a minor third above G. So together, G, B flat, and D form what's called a minor chord, represented by the lowercase Roman numeral 2, where the lowercase means that it's minor. And then all of the other chords are also either major or minor, except for this 7th chord, which includes a minor third and a flatted fifth, that together give it a weaker or diminished sound, which we signify by writing this little O next to the 7 here, where the O means that it's diminished. So this is how these 7 chords are constructed, by combining every other note of the F Ionian mode. And now that we've looked at the theory of building chords and how they're labeled using numerals, let's see how to actually play them on the guitar fretboard. Here we have the F Ionian mode highlighted on the fretboard, and to the right is the same note pattern in a circular formation with scale degrees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, we just build each chord by starting on each separate scale degree and then combining every other note. F major, or the major 1 chord, is made from notes F, A, and C, which we could combine together, barring the first top 2 strings on the 1st fret, or we could bar the whole 1st fret to play F major in this position. If we rise up the fretboard, we have F, A, and C, which we can combine to play F major in this position, or higher still, we have F, A, and C, which we can bar on the 8th fret in this position, and we could play in other positions on the fretboard as well. Then there's the G minor chord, the minor 2, which is formed from notes G, B flat, and D, which we can play as a barred chord on the 3rd fret. We can play higher G, B flat, and D, combine those in this G minor position. Or we have G, B flat, and D way up here as a barred chord up high like this. And again, we can play the same chord in other positions as well. Then there's A minor, the minor 3 chord in this mode, which combines notes A, C, and E. We can play as an open chord like this, or rising up the fretboard, we have A, C, and E as a barred chord on the 5th fret. And for another position, as an example, we have A, C, and E, which we can combine to play those notes like this. Then there's the B flat major chord, the major 4 in this mode, which is made from notes B flat, D, and F, which we can play like this. We have B flat, D, and F. Combining those notes, barring the 1st fret, we have this B flat major chord. You could play this chord in this position as well. And then there's B flat, D, and F as a barred chord on the 6th fret, and in other positions as well. Then we have C major, the major 5, which is made from notes C, E, and G. Combining them, we have C, E, and G. This is one of the most common positions as an open chord. Or we could rise up a little higher and play C, E, and G, barring the 3rd fret, to play it like this. Or we could play this C major chord like this. Or we can go even higher and play C, E, G, to play the chord like that. Then there's the D minor chord, minor 6, which is made from notes D, F, and A. There's D, F, and A, which we can play the open 4th string to play an open D minor chord like this. Or rising up the fretboard, we have D, F, and A as a barred 5th fret. And rising even higher, we have D, F, and A as a barred chord way up here. Then there is the E diminished chord, or the diminished 7 in the F Ionian mode, which is a combination of notes E, G, and B flat. So we could play the chord like that, or we could also rise up the fretboard and play E, G, and B flat for kind of a darker, more dissonant sound. So by combining every other note of the F Ionian mode, 7 distinct harmonies are formed that all sound good together because they stem from the same source pattern. And again, the F Ionian mode itself sounds like this, with each note played in sequence. And when we play the 7 chords in order, major 1, minor 2, minor 3, etc., it basically sounds like the same pattern, but fleshed out. Together, these chords give us a complete set of harmonies that we can use to compose different chord progressions in F Ionian. By moving back and forth between these chords in different patterns and arrangements, we can come up with some really interesting sounds. For example, we might start at the F major chord, major 1, then move to the major 4 chord, B flat major, then pass through C major, the major 5, before returning to F major, the major 1 once again. Or we could move through any of the other chords in this mode to create a lot of other progressions too, like the popular 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. Etc. Using just these 7 chords, the options are nearly endless, and with all of the different positions or inversions of these chords up and down the fretboard, you can create a lot of cool sounds. Now, obviously it takes some practice to move your fingers up and down the fretboard, but once you can actually understand and see the logic, you can get a feel for it pretty quickly because it's all just patterns. Now, to help you really get a feel for each of these chords, I'm going to show you some diagrams next that you can use to pause the video, take a screenshot of each, and then refer to them at your own pace as you practice playing these patterns on your guitar. This first again shows the 7 chords of the F Ionian mode in a table format, which illustrates how each harmony is derived by combining every other note of the major scale. And then below that is the fretboard with all of the possible positions for playing the F major chord, or the major 1 in this mode. And then these diagrams show the note patterns and finger positions for G minor, the minor 2, A minor, the minor 3, and B flat major, or the major 4 chord in the F Ionian mode. And then these diagrams include C major, the major 5, D minor, the minor 6, and E diminished, or the diminished 7 chord in this mode. And then this diagram shows all of the same chords, but in 3 different ways. At the top, in a circular formation showing how all of these patterns form a ring of harmonies. in the middle as they're laid out in different positions on the fretboard, and then at the bottom in chord diagrams that are more traditional, where the numbers represent the fingers used to press each note. And really, these are just a few of the finger positions that are possible to play each chord. So these are the chords of F Ionian. Let YouTube know if you think this is a good one. Join the conversation below, and that is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.